Okay then guys, in this video we need to have a look at something called fractional distillation. Okay, and this is what is used to separate all of the different alkanes found in crude oil. So to begin with, we have our crude oil being put into the fractionating column at the bottom. So crude oil goes in here. Okay, this is called a fractionating column, and it's used to heat up crude oil to separate it into the different alkanes. So crude oil goes in here, and at the bottom it's heated up. So at the bottom of the fractionating column it is the hottest. Okay, and at the top it is at its coolest. So it's much cooler at the top of the fractionating column than it is at the bottom. Now what happens is when we put the crude oil into the fractionating column, it's heated up, and what happens is the alkanes start to become vapor, they start to become a gas. Okay, and when they become a gas they start to rise. Okay, until they get cold enough to condense. So at the bottom they vaporize, so they become a vapor, and then as they rise they condense, okay, and become a liquid again. So condense. Now different alkanes vaporize and condense at different temperatures. So in terms of which ones vaporize first, the smallest molecules vaporize first, okay, and they rise to the top. So for example, at this one here you'd put crude oil in, and the smallest of all the alkanes is methane, so you'd get methane at the top. Okay, so the crude oil would heat up and the methane would vaporize, rise to the top, and come out this one at the top here as a gas still. The second one, because it's a bit bigger, would be ethane. So ethane would vaporize and then condense somewhere near the top. Then you'd get propane, okay, butane, and so on. Okay, I haven't drawn all the columns on here, just these few. So essentially at different temperatures we get different molecules because they vaporize easier and condense easier. But in terms of remembering trends, okay, we can usually say that the largest molecules gather at the bottom, okay, and they go all the way up to the smallest. That's why we get methane at the top and we'd get the biggest molecule at the bottom. We can say that those with the highest boiling point, so high BP, stay at the bottom, whereas those with the lowest boiling point gather at the top. We could say those that are least flammable gather at the bottom, and those that are most flammable gather at the top. Okay, but so long as you understand that when we put crude oil in, it's heated up, so it vaporizes, it starts to rise, and depending upon the size of the molecule it condenses at different heights away from the bottom. So the smallest molecules, methane, rise to the top, come out without ever condensing, whereas the largest molecules, in this case would be butane, that goes in and it takes ages to vaporize, and then eventually it does, and as soon as it gets away from the heat source it starts to condense and comes out here. So make sure you understand the trends in fractional distillation, and you also understand and can explain how the process works using vaporization and condensation.